All right, take on the Lynx at 9 Eastern. All right, welcome back to The Jump. I'm George Sedano, joined by Matt Barnes and Ramona Shelburne. So Joel Embiid has been a human wrecking ball, destroying the Hawks through 3 games in this series. Even with a partially torn meniscus, Embiid has dominated every strategy, every defender the Hawks have thrown at him. So take a look at Embiid's video game-like numbers in this series. He's averaging 35 points a game on 53% shooting. You can't foul him either because he's shooting 81% from the line. So, Matt, what else can the Hawks try to slow down Embiid with?
Don't feel bad. He does it to everyone. I just think this is great experience for this young Atlanta Hawk team. I think this is great experience. I don't see them, if they can steal one tonight at home, that would be a big plus. But Philly has more talent. But again, this is a young, talented Atlanta team that should be happy about what happened this season and continue to build off this. But no one in the world can stop Embiid.
Look, Matt, you are a really successful television broadcaster, but they could use somebody like you in this series. There is no way to stop Joel Embiid. You have to throw like 3 or 4 guys at him, and you have to get somebody like Matt to get under his skin. I don't know. I'm trying to think of what you could do.
They don't have that.
And it's tough, too, because one of his weaknesses was passing out of double teams. He's starting to understand when the double and triple teams come, make the easy pass, not the fancy pass, make the easy pass. So it makes hard to double team him, and he can take you out to the three-point line and go by you. So there's nothing they can really do. Again, like I said, I think they've had a great season, exceeded expectations, and just take this on the chin as experience. Trae Young is a superstar, and they got a good supporting cast around him.
So the thing I'd say, though, is that Joel has worked on this. Like, this is when Joel has failed in the playoffs before, it's been because teams like the Raptors would like blitz him, or the Celtics, they would get like 3 or 4 guys on him, and he would panic when that double or triple team came. Now he accepts it, and he waits. He waits until the right moment, until the shooter is available, until somebody's there. And I think that has been the biggest evolution in Embiid. And so really the choice is, do you let Joel just go for 35 and 10, or maybe even 40? I mean, he can score whatever he wants, but just try to stop everybody else. I mean, I think that's probably the best way, because I don't know that you can just blitz him anymore.
Yeah, no, it's tough. I think people don't understand how tough. I came in the league when they used to double team, and bigs had a hard time passing out the post for some reason. Joel Embiid had that same experience, so I think he understands, and Ramona said it perfectly. He invites the double team now and makes plays for the rest of his team, and when he starts doing that, there's nothing you can do.
And shout out to him. He called it. He told you that in that story you wrote earlier in the year that he was going to be an MVP type player this year, and he's certainly proven that. So, all right, in the West, there's another series going on, heading to a pivotal Game 4. Paul George bounced back from a rough start in Utah to help the Clippers climb back into this series with the Jazz. PG dropped 31 on 50% shooting and dishing out 5 assists in the Clippers' Game 3 blowout win. So, Ramona, do you trust PG to perform at a high level tonight in Game 4?
I think he will. I mean, look, here's the thing with Paul. He's a streaky shooter, and he always has been. So it's not always. Sometimes people like to say, oh, he's having a bad game because it's in his head. No, he's just a streaky player.
Yes.
Okay, but the difference for him this year, and this is what the piece we wrote today was with him and Chauncey Billups, is he's creating for others. Like, he's a playmaker now, and Chauncey's literally having like daily film sessions with him, teaching how to think the game like a point guard. So if his shot's not falling, if he's having on one of those down streaks there, he can create for others, and that's what they're asking him to do in this offense now.
He's averaging 26, 7.5, and nearly 5 assists a game, and everyone wants to give him a hard time. I mean, this guy's been playing well. I think they obviously want more from him, but I trust in him. Like I said, like Ramona said, he's always been a streaky type player. So when he gets hot, it's trouble. They're going to need him and Kawhi to hit on all cylinders, and I think they can come back from this 0-2 deficit and end up winning this series.
So I agree with you. We also just got word that Mike Conley will be out for tonight. Matt, if Mike Conley doesn't play in this series, this is a big problem for the Jazz.
This is trouble, and even a bigger problem is, Donovan Mitchell tweaked his right ankle again, and possibly could have returned, but Quinn kept him out because the game got out of hand. But is he really going to be full strength? To me, you blitz him and make everyone else beat you and see what happens. But without Mike Conley, their all-star point guard, it's going to be a tough road.
I was expecting Conley to sit out this game, though. I mean, honestly, if you want Conley back, Conley's got to play in this series, but I'd rather have him come back in Game 5 at home.
Okay, fair enough. All right, that'll do it for us. Thanks to Matt and Ramona for joining us today. Rachel will be back in this seat tomorrow, so don't worry about it. Thanks for watching. Make sure you stay tuned here on ESPN2 as NFL Live is coming up next. Have a great day. In The Athletic, some within the Mavericks organization are concerned about Luka Doncic's desire to remain with the team long term. Some of that frustration stems from some friction with Bob Voulgaris, a well-known sports gambler, basketball gambler particularly, who was hired by the Mavs in 2018, who The Athletic reports is, quote, the most influential voice in the Mavs front office next to Mark Cuban. Mark Cuban replied to The Athletic story on Twitter today, calling it total BS. And he actually used the word, so not just BS. Matt, what's your reaction to this story?
On my kids' podcast, they have a segment called Cap or Fact. This is complete cap. I don't see Luka going anywhere. I think he's gonna walk in the shoes of Dirk and probably surpass him at some point. I think he's going to be a lifetime Maverick. They asked if he's going to sign a Supermax, and he said earlier, I think everyone knows the answer to that. So Luka's in a great situation. If anything, he just puts a little bit of pressure on him, knowing that they really need to go out and get him a Batman. Porzingis is too inconsistent and too healthy. His health is such an issue, but Luka's perfect in there. Great owner, great system, fan base that loves him to death. So I don't see Luka going anywhere.
By the way, I love the plug for the Barnes boys.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
Love that.
Total cap, though. Momo, yes or no?
Look, I think when you lose, there's friction. Okay, when you lose, there's people who are wondering why did you lose, what went wrong. This is what we do. Okay, we either write stories about it or it's discussed internally. I don't think Luka would leave because of conflict with the front office guy. He's not even really the guy there.
Involved, right.
So to me, like if Luka were to ever leave, first of all, I think he's gonna sign Supermax.
Right.
He's gonna be there for a long time.
Well, he said the words.
Yeah.
I think you know what the answer to that is when asked about that.
Yeah, there might. But we're way too early to be talking about. Is Luka going to leave?
Right.
We can start the narrative.
Right.
I mean, obviously, this is what we do. We got a talk show to fill, okay? But I just watched this man have an unbelievable series.
Yeah.
He is that good, and he is ready.
It's going to be his league soon.
Yeah. I mean, he's like, I did not realize how good he was. I mean, we knew how good he was, but then when you see him in person, you're like, oh, okay, you're ready. They need to get him somebody because you don't want to waste these years. Usually you say the prime years are like 26, 27. No, he's ready.
Yeah.
He's 22 and he's ready.
Right.
So, well, the clock is ticking, but we got a long runway. Let's give the Mavs some time to work here. I mean, they tried one shot with Porzingis here. This doesn't seem like the right pairing.
Yeah.
I mean, it seems like Porzingis is a nice player, but probably not the best fit next to Luka. So let's give them some time to maneuver. And if next season we're going into the same place and he's still losing in the first round, okay.
Well, look at this graphic here where it talks about the potential projection for his potential contract, what they've got in cap space. Because remember, they were one of the teams that was trying to carve out some space for Giannis had Giannis become available.
Right.
So they've got some maneuverability here for sure.
They do. I definitely think they do. I think they need to re-sign Tim Hardaway. I think he is showing his work time and time again. Very unsung player. The jury's out on Porzingis. I mean, he'll show you flashes where he looks like a top player, then he'll show you flashes where you didn't even know he played. So I think I would love to see more consistency out of him because when he's playing his game, he is one. They were the top duo last year in the bubble, and they couldn't duplicate that. So again, I think they need to go out and get him a real Robin, and I think this team is sitting in a nice position to contend for the next handful of years.
What has been the biggest difference with Porzingis defensively? Like, I feel like he was a pretty good defender in New York.
Yeah.
And is it
health.
injury?
I think it's health.
It's just
Yeah,
that?
I don't think he like when you watch him land,
Yeah.
it doesn't look like he trusts his legs when he lands, right? Like in a sense that like you have to trust your body when you've had a lot of injuries. That's hard.
Yeah, and he used to go chase down blocks.
Yep.
I mean, that was scary because he's so tall and then so long. Like, he was a force to be reckoned with. And all that tells me is I don't think he's lost that desire. I think he's either lost the trust in his body or he's not fully healthy that is going to allow him to cover the whole entire floor.
Now, Momo, there was a story about Rick Carlisle, also in Bleacher Report, about him potentially eyeing the Bucks job if that became open. And Mark Cuban addressed that one as well on Twitter and basically said that it was an opinion piece, that it was not a factually based piece. What do we know about Rick Carlisle's future?
Well, look, besides Pop, the longest tenured head coach we have here, head of the NBA Coaches Association. I think the respect for him is all over the league. I mean, maybe unless you ask for Rajon Rondo, right? Okay, but look, I think this is going to be Rick's choice if he wants to, however long he wants to coach here. Look, Luka has a good relationship with Jamal Mosley on that staff. Like we know that there are other options there, but I think Rick's an institution there in Dallas.
Yeah,
I can't see him wanting to leave Luka Doncic.
Agreed. I think he's the right fit. Again, and I just love Mark Cuban. I mean, he puts out every fire with his own voice, not through someone else. He's going to tell you exactly what he thinks. So again, as we discussed earlier, I think this just comes with losing. The pot's going to be stirred. Rumors are going to come out, whether it be true or not. But I don't see them losing any of these two key pieces for
Some of it is personality there too. I mean, there's certain superstars who are willing to flex. Certain superstars are going to flex their power. I don't see Luka as that type. I mean, do you see Luka as the type to try to force?
No, I just think he wants to win.
Just wants to win.
Right.
And by the way, so does Mark Cuban.
Yeah.
So before we start saying, oh, there's a problem with Mark, let's see what Mark Cuban does here. Like, this isn't an owner who's going to be worried about the luxury tax, the salary cap. Like, this is a guy who wants to get stuff done.
Right, and they have maneuverability. They have the ability to kind of make some things happen this offseason. You mentioned Hardaway Jr. Potentially could come back, and they've got some extra cap space beyond that potentially. Can they make a deal with some of the current pieces they have to bring in different players? We see in this league that turnover happens regularly, so it's certainly possible. All right, coming up, in honor of Kyrie breaking down the nasty